All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say, because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line. Today's guest is Mr. JahLeel Michael, right? He's coming out of Brooklyn, New York, but this is a brother from the Caribbean, from St. Croix. You know, just talking to him, his energy levels are through the roof. I mean, you can't get on the phone and have a conversation with somebody who doesn't have the energy that matches what they say they do, right? So I'm like looking through posts on Facebook, and I see this guy, he's got the shoe, and the shoe is Soulye. And I said, but it's made in Italy. And I said, wait a minute, how is this a Haitian shoe? And there's no branding, like no Haitian flag, no nothing. It's just like Soulye, and it's a beautiful wingtip shoe. I mean, it's white, the white leather with the wingtip, and it looks like a golf shoe, like something people would wear on the golf course.
It's actually a Kentucky Derby.
Is that right? Thank you for the correction, because it's a beautiful shoe. And I said, this is a Haitian shoe. This is Soulye, means shoe in Creole.
Yeah,
so I got to talk to him, and I got to figure out, how he's getting this done from Italy out to the States, and how he's making this happen, right? And it's during the pandemic too, so I was really interested. So JahLeel, man, thanks for taking the time to being a guest today on the Bottom Line. I'm really excited to talk to you today. How's it going, man?
Pleasure to be here, man. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I'm excited to talk to you because your energy levels, man. I mean, you've got so much going on. There's a pandemic. Not everybody's I think a lot of people kind of lose sight of what they can do. Not that they're not trying to do things, but they losing sight of what the potential could be. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, how have you been dealing with this thing? How have you been dealing with this pandemic?
So just to piggyback off what you just said, what I realized in this pandemic is a lot of the stuff that we did on the daily, we're not able to do anymore.
Right.
So being locked down we was on lockdown for about 90 days, 100 days, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just New York State. And I needed something to do. So waking up, not going to work, can't go to the grocery store how I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a venue, an exit, something to do. So it started off with, let's say, my deck in the backyard.
Okay.
So this is how I knew my thing was, okay, let me find out what I can actually do that I don't know that I can do.
Right.
So took the deck down, and now we have an open space backyard.
Oh wow.
And then I'm like, okay, well, it was just dirt and grass, and we needed somewhere that we want to chill out, if we want to grill, have some friends over, and not be dirty and get our shoes dirty and stuff like that. So
right.
Paver stones. I never knew I could do paver stones.
Wow. Okay.
I never knew I can lay it down.
Yeah.
Never knew about measuring, figuring out how many paver stones fit in a certain area.
Right.
I never knew the process of getting it done properly. So that is something I knew I figured out how to do just off of YouTube, actually.
Get out. Yeah.
Watching a couple YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And just imagine it in my head, and then going out and doing it. And it wasn't a process that happened overnight. This took a month and a half of planning and actually getting some resources together. And when I mean resources, I mean manpower.
Right.
And I didn't outsource that at all. I didn't go to a company. I try to keep everything in-house, which is what I'm doing now with everything. So I reached out to my dad.
Okay.
I know my dad has a little bit of construction background. He did construction in the mid 2000s, early 2000s. He was a carpenter as well. So I reached out to him, and he said, "Yeah, I'll come out and help you out." So
nice.
When he came out, it actually took about 3 days.
Oh wow! Where's he coming out from?
Say that again.
Where's he coming out from?
Oh, so I moved upstate. So he came out from the city.
Yeah.
Drove about 3 hours to come see me and help me out. And nice. It's a way for my family to get away from the city as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Have our own privacy. We can play our music how we want to, grill.
Yeah.
I have 2 dogs, so
yeah, let the dogs run around.
Yeah, they got to run around. Yeah. And I need freedom to just park my car. I don't have to lock my car if I don't want to.
Right, right. That alternate side parking is a pain in the neck, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But so and then also like back in January, I felt really sick. Like I know you've heard a lot of people saying they've had it before.
That's what I heard. I heard a lot of people say they got a cold different from what they usually got, and this could have been the virus for them.
But mine wasn't a cold. Okay. I went to the emergency room once or twice. I went once, at least once. But the second time I went, I had a toothache. But that's a different story. Right. But I went to the emergency room once, and the reason when I went there is because I couldn't sleep. My chest was hurting. I was unable to eat. It was really bad to the point where I woke up middle of the night and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. So I went to the emergency room. Right. And when they tested me, they said I had influenza B.
Get out.
So I've never heard of that before. I never knew there was different types of influenzas or whatever the case. And then for them to say, oh, you have a B, right? Like the type B, right? Kind of like, okay. Well,
so were they testing for the virus back then, though? Were they testing?
They wasn't. This was early January. This was before it even became a big thing.
Right. Okay.
Like they had COVID this, but it was like travel was still going on. People were still vacationing. Like everything was still in full circle. Right. So I was on bed rest for like a week and a half. No lie, like 10 days. I was literally wake up. I wouldn't even wake up. I would sleep through the whole day. To the point where when I actually got on the last 2 days where I was getting physically better, my muscles were so weak I couldn't really walk a certain way. So I had to like practice walking for a couple hours.
Dang.
And then and like I went to see my dad like shortly after that, and he fell sick. But he wasn't as severe. His sickness wasn't as severe as mine.
Right. Now, do you generally take care of yourself? Like are you pretty fit, pretty active before you got sick?
I ran track in college, so fitness is a part of my life. Right. I mean, I got hit by a car back in 2017.
Oh wow.
But that kind of put me on sidelines for a little bit. But I didn't let that stop me from doing what I'm able to do. I'm eating healthy. Right. I don't consume junk food like people would. I don't drink soda. Right. I'm pretty much on an almost alkaline diet, but
okay,
it takes some time to get there.
yeah. Oh, tell me about it. You're doing better than me, man. Like you're very disciplined. Sound like you're really disciplined. But at least you kicked it because of your, you don't have any pre-existing conditions, right? And like your dad, he probably takes care of himself also, right?
Yeah. And he's rostered, so he don't eat meat. He don't consume animal products.
Clean.
Yeah, his food is pretty much like peas. If he makes certain stuff, it's peas and dasheen and green fig and yams and
they gotta figure it out. They definitely got to figure it out. That's a different level of discipline right there. That menu, man. What's crazy is one time, and I love like Jamaican food. I love like Caribbean food, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of guy that I gotta have like rice. Right, I gotta have rice. I gotta have like a meat, but I think they made me wait one time. There was like, I don't know if you know, like Nostrand Avenue, Nostrand and Fulton over there.
Yeah, I got my cousin live over there. Yeah. Nostrand and he live on Rogers between Park and Prospect. Yep.
You know the area. There's a Golden Crush right on the corner.
Yep.
They made me wait for the chicken. They had a jerk chicken that was like gonna be brand new, like fresh. They made me wait for it, but I was in a rush. So I took everything else that was like on the side, and it was like a vegetarian platter, right? Because it didn't have any meat on it. So I was like, dang, this is gonna be rough, right? But I ate it all, and you know how it is. You're like eating and walking and always on the move, and I ate the whole thing. And let me tell you, I didn't miss the meat. I didn't miss it because it was good. You know what I mean? It was like I was an involuntary vegetarian at that moment.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a good.
And a lot of times too, like if you cook the food that good. Yeah, you don't even care for the protein,
right?
In terms of meat that comes in it.
Yeah. So I can get it. I get it. Yeah. So okay. So now with this business of yours, you got a few things going on, right? Like I was really interested in about how you decided to come out with this shoe, the Soulye, and for me, I think what's big for me is like when I see somebody or like a product and somebody removes themselves completely from like the marketing of it or the advertising, like your face was never on the product. It was just the shoe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, what motivated that? What motivated the shoe? What motivated you to remove yourself from it altogether and not really promote it as like a Haitian product, but like just a shoe that was being made in Italy? Talk to me about that a little bit.
All right. So I'm going to tell you about the shoe a little bit, just in general, and then we'll get there. But so the shoe honestly came across by mistake.
Oh, yeah?
Like,
okay.
Like I had no intentions on being a shoe designer, had no intentions on like even putting a shoe out. But right when the pandemic started, you couldn't go in stores to buy shoes because a lot of the retail stores closed down and a lot of them not opening back up.
Yep.
So there was still certain business and industries that was still being ran in terms of like, the real estate at the time was going down because people wasn't able to do showings and stuff. But there were still people who buys shoes because certain states wasn't closed down.
Right.
And certain states was still in full operations. But how I came about making the shoe was I met someone, had no intentions on making a shoe. And I'm a shoe guy. Like I love shoes. I'm not a sneakerhead, but if I do see a shoe or sneaker that catches my attention, I will get it. And so when I met this person, they gave me a business card, and it was like literally a networking. Like, hey, I'm JahLeel, and this is what I do. And gave me a business card, and then they say, well, his friend runs a company that creates shoes. And this is a client I met in the auto industry.
Okay.
So his friend creates shoes over in Italy. He has a company that makes handmade shoes, sneakers, unisex shoes, heels, flats, slippers, the whole nine, everything.
Yeah.
And so I checked out the website, and I'm like, let me see what this is about. So when I checked out the website, it's a website that gives artists or creators an outlet to make their ideas come to life.
Gotcha.
So he gave me like a free subscription, like, you can try it out. And like I said, it was a mistake. So I'm messing with different shoe models and shoe ideas because they give you like a platform to work off of.
Yeah.
And then you literally build it from there, from like every detail, stitch, and everything. So in St. Croix now, horse racing is a big thing.
Okay. There it is.
Yes. Yep. So horse racing is a big thing. And so what I was trying to do was, we believed at the time horse racing would be back, but now it won't be due to the pandemic. But at the time,
even out there, huh? That's great. Yeah.
So I thought at the time, the horse racing will be back around. So when that comes back around in full momentum, I can, advertise, or my target audience would be derby people who goes to derbies or races or race events or stuff like that. So that was my whole marketing scheme behind that.
Gotcha.
And so now the shoe came to life when I was just messing with ideas. So stitchings, color scheme. I've ran a whole bunch of different color scheme, from blue, yellow, and gray, black and white, all black, patent leather, everything. And this one idea is the one that stuck out to me. And it stuck out to everybody else because it wasn't just my opinion, but I was asking like, okay, what do you think about this? Yeah. And then once I got I really love it. I really love it. This was before I even say I'm gonna launch this one or I'm gonna put it in production.
Yeah, you did some research first.
Yep. And so basically it wasn't enough of like I love it. Yeah. But when I first posted a model pic of it on my Instagram, and I got a lot of good feedback, and then I said, okay, this is the one. Because I've done that with other shoes too. So I've created sneakers, I've created slip-ons, slippers, heels, but they never had any even some boots, but they never got any feedback. And then even the company's CEO gave me a feedback on those shoes.
Wow.
Yep. And so I have another pair of shoes. So messing with the color scheme and everything, those shoes came out as a male product. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to put it behind my Modern Margin Investments because I wanted it to be its own entity.
Okay.
So eventually what I will do, it's once the production, because it only get produces when an order is made. It's that special.
Yeah.
So it's not something that goes into mass production and then we just put it out on the street, because it's handmade, it's quality.
Right.
You're not just,
well, that cut costs too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's smart, really smart.
So basically when we get to 70 orders, I'm gonna do a 30 order of just, I'm gonna put this in at this place.
Right.
And I wanted to do in the next year, in the next upcoming year, I wanted to do 3 giveaways.
Okay.
For free, 3 pairs, all for free.
Yeah.
Not expecting anything in return, but just to put my brand out there.
Nice. As a sample.
And then
you know where you're gonna send one first, right?
Huh?
You know where you're gonna send one first, right?
Oh yeah, you definitely, yeah, for sure. I got you for sure. You just gotta send me a size.
Size 12. Like a nice size.
You just gotta send me the size, brother.
By like April, May. My birthday's in May, so
okay, that's perfect.
It's a fly shoe for the summer.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. And I wore it in the summertime too. That's when it was my favorite time to wear it, during the summertime.
Yeah, it's a real laid back shoe, man. I'm a shoe guy too. I love shoes, you know what I mean? And I think my uncle, as a matter of fact, this was a long time ago though, before he passed, he's the kind of guy, he used to replace the sole of the shoe. So you never really go out and buy a new shoe. You
just replace it.
Replace your sole. So if you got the good, genuine cowhide leather, then you got quality there. There's no wear and tear there. Or it's like actually as it starts to wear and tear a little bit, it's like it becomes better, right?
Yeah.
So then you just replace
it becomes more comfortable.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
That's the crazy thing. Like when I was a kid, my father used to take my old shoes and just wear them around the house because, like, you know what I mean? He'd be like, as like slippers or whatever. He'd be like, these are good shoes. These are good shoes. Give them to your cousin. Give them to, because they're still good. And then my uncle would replace the sole. So that's what stood out to me. How'd you come up with the name, Soulye?
So I had 2 names in the line that I came down to, and I wanted it to, like I said, the idea came based on, horse races in St. Croix, the Derby theme. So I wanted to keep the culture. And at the same time, we speak English in St. Croix. It's our native language.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's broken English, but the rest of my background, my family, which is from St. Lucia, we speak Creole or St. Lucian Patois.
Which sounds like Haitian Creoles, Haitian Patois.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Just the accent is different. The dialect is a little different. Yeah, but we may drag some words. But so I needed something that stuck with the culture a little bit in my culture.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, okay, like, how can I do that? And I was thinking either it was gonna be a location in either St. Lucia or St. Croix.
Yeah.
Or it had to be something with my name. And if it's not with my name, I don't want it to be with Modern Margin Investments or my face. I wanted it to be its own thing.
Right.
I didn't want to be behind it. I just wanted it to be its own thing. And so the first one I came up with was it's a place in St. Lucia. It's called Auxleon.
Okay.
Or it's spelled Auxleon.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's another place called Dernier Rivière.
The last river.
Yeah, the last river.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna use a fancy way that my name is spelled, Jmichae.
Yeah.
And pronounce it J McKay.
Love it.
And then Soulye came to my mind, and I'm like, wait, I don't think there's any name that a brand called Soulye.
What's crazy for me, because when I saw it, I'm like, in my head, you are the way you came out with that shoe, or the way that you promoted it. In my head, when I go shopping for shoes, I'm like, this is a shoe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that's a shoe. Like, I'm like, that's not a shoe. That's not a good shoe. Because you know what I mean? You're like, no, that's not.
Yeah.
Especially with the ones that have like the sole that they slide on the ground. It's like, that's not a good shoe. This is a shoe. So when I saw yours, it's like Soulye. Here it is.
Yeah.
Soulye.
Shoe. That's a shoe.
You know what I mean? So I appreciated that, because it's like straight to the point.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking too was like, when I saw how you did it, like I was like, who owns this? Like, because I had to search for you.
Yeah.
All I saw was like, I think you did like a sponsor ad or something.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I did.
And I had to search. I was like, no, this is Haitian. I got to prove it now. And then I saw the Italian flag. You know what I mean? When I saw the Italian flag, I was like, there's no way in hell this is an Italian shoe. Like, there's no way. They don't say Soulye for shoe.
Yeah.
So I had to really search it.
Yeah. So that is, it's for somebody in our background, you know, in our culture, that is contradicting that there's an Italian flag on there. Yeah. But that's part of the partnership that I have.
It was amazing. It's such
it says it's made in Italy for the quality and stuff like that. So
it's brilliant. And you're so far removed from it that it appeals to such a wider demographic of people who are probably just like shoe enthusiasts. You know what I mean?
Yep. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like I said, I'm not trying to, I mean, a lot of colored people don't go to derbies, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that I'm not marketing to them, but I want it to be more than just me. I want it to be worldwide. I want it to be an everybody thing.
Yeah, you're global.
And so that's why, global. Yep.
Yeah, I like that too, because all right, so like if I had come up with it, I would have did something like, you know, local level. I would have said, let me open up a shoe store, and let me, like, you know, like you said, I would probably done mass production and just had it sitting there on the shelves, and then have it like the most popular sizes. But what you did, and I think what was like, you're so forward in your thinking, and this is not what I do, right? So obviously you've done this a few times. You said, I made a few sneakers, I've made a few, you know, this is not your first rodeo, so to speak, right? So it's like, you knew now, especially because of the pandemic, you wanted to appeal to a wider demographic. You wanted to make sure that you not only were you far removed of it. I like the fact that you said that you didn't want to make it part of modern margin, your investment company, because you wanted it to stand on its own. So you saw the potential that it could actually have, right? Yeah. And I think people like me, you know, I think after a certain age, I just started wearing like suits. You know what I mean? Or like I started building my suit collection, or like white shirts. You know what I mean?
And that's where I'm at right now. I mean, I'm 27, and there was events where, you know, you're gonna need the sport jacket, the blazer, the button down, the tie. Right. But like now it's becoming an everyday thing for me. Believe it or not, it's becoming like, okay, I mean, even if I'm not deep in the corporate world, and or I'm not on Wall Street itself, but it's like, okay, this is how I feel good now. This is how I feel good. This is how I feel good. So like now you check my closet, I have a whole bunch of polo shirts, button down shirts, dress down pants, tapered pants, like the whole nine now.
Nice. Yeah. You know, that's real like Caribbean vibes right there. That's how it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, the other thing too is when you think about how you're gonna get to people, like I didn't see anybody like, and that's the other thing. When people think about quality, right? Because if you're somebody who buys, you know, a lot of shoes, and they're like, you know, low quality, you're gonna buy more shoes. But if you're somebody that looking for quality, you're like, okay, I know where this is being made. I know, you know, who the designer is. You can come out with anything at this point, and people will just follow you. So the next product that you introduce, people will jump on it because they know the shoe is an official shoe. It's a really good shoe, right? So let me ask you another question about your the idea for the shoe. Were you worried about costs, about like having it done in Italy versus here in the States?
So
like manufacturing costs.
So manufacturing costs, so believe it or not, the margin on shoes, it's really, really low.
Really?
That's why you see when Yeezys come out, they go retail. And then after retail, it's 200% markup.
Yeah.
300% markup. And that's because that depends on the margin. So right now for Soulye, the margin, it's a $30 profit. I know it may seem light, it may seem little,
right?
But that's because of the quality and cost. But the thing is, though, I'm not in it because of the profit. I'm in it to build the name, to build the shoe.
Yeah.
Because I mean, $30 may seem like a little bit.
Yeah.
But guess what? 10 orders of $30.
Yeah, that's up.
$300.
Yeah, it adds up.
3,000 orders of $30. Yeah. That's not. You know what I'm saying? So it's for me. If there's a profit margin there, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. As long as the quality is there. I won't compromise my quality for profit. Right. Because then I'm going to be losing profit in the long run because the quality won't be there.
Yeah. Have you tried to have it made in the States, or is like, because like you hear, especially with Trump, the president, he'll talk about, bringing manufacturing back to the States and all that. And it's like most people will say, even Apple, you know what I mean? Like they don't have their products made here in the States. So do you think it would be more expensive to make anything here, or is it less expensive to make your products like overseas or like in Italy?
It will be. It is more expensive to make stuff here because you're using US dollars against US dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas overseas, you may get a 1.5 exchange on your dollar.
Nice.
So, the dollar can stretch further overseas than, in the Americas. Not saying that I don't want it to be done here, but
as a businessman, it makes sense. It's like numbers make
it's numbers, and numbers is everything for me at this point.
Yeah, for everybody. Yeah, you're thinking like a businessman.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about modern margin investments. Tell me about that.
So, with modern margin investments, we started up in 2014. I was a junior in college, and in my dorm room, it was just me that day. And at the time, I wanted to get into real estate. I came across real estate in 2012, but being a student athlete, a freshman, sophomore, you just getting used to the college life. You're not thinking about, a business.
Right.
Well, at least me. I won't speak for everybody else, but being a student athlete, you're not thinking about a business.
Right.
And so I just knew of real estate. And then I knew that Nashville was one of the cities at the time growing at an 8% rate daily.
Wow.
Which is tremendous.
Yeah.
And then like the second place city was coming in at 3% or something like that. So it was a big difference at the time. Mm-hmm. So during the time, there was a guy, you probably saw him a couple times on social media, Tim Witten, from Baltimore. He was a real good wholesale flipper at the time. So I wanted to get into that at first. And then I took a semester off of school, then went back into school again. So 2014 came around, and then I said, I bought this program. It was probably my last couple $100. I bought this program from him. It was like $250. And it was, it gave me a map, an outline of how to get into the real estate in terms of starting your LLC, getting contracts, wholesale contracts, assignment contracts, and stuff like that, which I'm really grateful for because we use them.
Nice.
And so when we started in 2014, we started off as just in the real estate industry. So we was trying to find really low value property in Nashville and surrounding areas at the time, because people was moving into the city, and there was a lot of those properties, and there was anywhere from 70% below market value, 60% below market value, 40%. It just varied depending on the condition of them.
Yeah.
And so we had a couple deals that being that we was in school Monday through Friday.
Wow.
On the weekends, he was a driver. I wasn't driving at the time. I didn't have a car. Well, at the time when we started. So he was driving his truck. So we would drive around Nashville, literally seeing properties, driving for dollars is what they called it.
Yeah.
And then you would write down the address. So at the time, how we would find out who owned the property was we would go to 411.com. No lie.
Okay. All right.
411.com, put in the address, and then it would tell you basically all the owner's information at the time. Yep. Not all their personal information, but their phone number, their name. And where they live if there was an absentee owner. Yeah. So, and then what we did was we would either handwrite letters. We would go back to the campus library, type up letters, print 100 of them, literally the same thing, same template, and then we would handwrite their name. Yeah. Our name at the end, at the bottom. Very nice. And then we would just literally mail them out, or we would drive to their personal properties and put them in the mailbox. Yeah. So you were not a college student at all. You were a hustler using that college campus as a HQ. Right. That's what you were doing. You were out there, you were canvassing. You had a whole different ball game. You went to college literally to use their equipment and to make that your office because you had a bigger picture in mind. And hats off to you, sir. Yeah. So real. Like that's leveraging right there. That's leveraging. You take what you got and then you go for what you really want. Right. Right. Yep. Hats off. And then, I mean, would you rather go use the campus library or go to Staples and pay $3 a copy? Bro, hats off, man. I love it. I love the hustle. I love the grind. I love the innovation. I love it. Love it. Yeah. So were you guys killing it? Were you guys making a lot of money? So we had days where we had times we made 3,000, 5,000. We had to split it. Yeah. And then a lot of times we failed. I'm not going to lie. We failed a lot. Part of the game. Yeah. We did fail a lot. One of our big failures was, I'm gonna tell you the whole story. Go on Craigslist.com. One day we see there's a house in Manchester, Tennessee. It's in the South, it's a brick house and very great condition. Outside, pristine. It's just that they're not able to maintain the property anymore. And so they were just trying to get rid of it and move into an apartment. That's what the best thing they wanted to do. So they listed this property for 27 grand. This was a $95,000 house. 27. How'd they come down with 27? That's crazy. This is okay. Yeah. This is like learning the game. Right? So they just wanted to get rid of it. Yeah. We jumped on it. We drove an hour and a half from Nashville to Manchester to look at this property. Now there was some Caucasian owners. At the time I had dreads. My partner had dreads. So we came into the house, we walked in, we walked through. House needed no work. The only thing me and my partner agreed to do was we was gonna rip the carpet up, we was gonna repaint the walls, and we was gonna clean the window sills because it was white window panels and sills and stuff like that. So we're just gonna clean that up. Kitchen was immaculate. Like the bedroom, like I said, the previous owners, they just kind of just kept the place a mess. So the rugs was gone, carpets was pretty much done. And so we got him, we got him the contract. We said, this is the contract. We offered 33 for it. So we had a formula. Yeah, so we had a formula based on the ARV value, the ARV of the property, and how much the max we would offer. And literally, this is a form, like there was a program on my laptop, on my previous laptop that I use. You just plug the numbers in and it did the math on Excel. Yeah, nice. Yeah. And so we said, okay, our markup, what they was able to sell that property for was up to $62,000. Right? Okay. And still have a $30,000 window. Right? So we offered 33 and they're like, okay, we'll take it. So they signed the contract and sent it over. Now, the only thing we didn't do was we didn't have a clause in there that prohibited them from withdrawing after signing. That was the only thing. Wow. Why would they do that though? So, all right. So let me tell you, come to find out, after we made the offer, we sat at the table, made the offer, said, okay, gave him the contract, made a copy, gave him a copy. the next day he sends a text to me and say, I just got an offer for 37.
Really?
So I'm like, you already signed a contract.
Yeah.
So, but me not reading the contract, you know, going in depth and not doing my due diligence, I didn't realize there was he can void the contract after signing.
Yeah.
There was no clause that said this contract is binding.
They'd have to pay a penalty or something. Yeah.
The only penalty on my end was the only clause that in there was for me, and that was for me to get my initial deposit.
Right.
So you see, I was just looking out for me.
Yeah.
And not worrying about what could go wrong on the other end.
Right.
So that's what I did wrong.
So you learned.
My clause was I only get my initial deposit back, my escrow money.
Yeah.
So it came back and forth. I said it became a text argument, and that don't go well.
Yeah. Right.
And so I said the contract is already signed. You can't void it. Signature's already there, and they was willing to go to court for it.
Wow. Yeah.
It was, and at the time I didn't have money for court.
They're gonna drag the whole thing out. Yeah, they're just gonna drag it out.
Yeah. So I said, okay, what if we match 37? Do we have a deal? I didn't get a reply.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Everything was all good. Come to find out, later that day, we go back on Craigslist. The same owner posted this house for 55 grand. He changed the price, put it up for 55 grand. So I don't know if they did their due diligence themselves.
Yeah.
After we offered them, you know, the money above what they was asking.
Right.
And then they realized, oh, this property's worth X amount of dollars.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Because he said we was the only one that contacted him and the only one at the time that even saw the ad. So
right.
So basically on our formula, if we would have got this property for the initial asking price of 33, we was going to sell it for 50.
Yeah.
And have $17,000 profit.
Yeah.
And at 50,000, because after the contract signed, we immediately posted the house.
Yeah.
And we was getting calls left and right.
For 60, you posted it for 60, right?
I posted for 50.
Okay.
To make it was a $17,000 profit window. Yeah. Just to get it off. Right. Investors would have been happy at 50.
Gotcha.
You know, and win for everybody.
So is that still running now? Like your modern margins, that's still what you do? That's like your capital, right? Like you get capital to start ventures like the shoe company.
Yep. So modern margin is everything now. It went, like I said, we started in real estate, but now we're in finance now. We're educating as well.
Yeah, I saw that. You do some educating on finance too, right?
Yep. Yeah. So with the finance and everything, it's when we get on the story about that, how I got into it.
Well, I think they start becoming hand in hand. Like you need financing to do a deal, right? Like you
exactly
get financing. It's like, why just stop there? Let me help you get the financing while I'm at it. Let me teach you how to
exactly. So being from New York, going to, at the time there was this app called Meetup.
I remember Meetup.
Yep. So people used to have real estate meetup events, and all different types of stuff. So I used to go to these meetup events, hard money lenders. And that's because that was the only thing I was lacking in the industry.
Yeah.
I had the legwork, I had the personality to speak to people. I'm not shy. I'm very out there.
Outgoing, yeah.
But the only thing was, how do I get the funds? Right. How do I get capital if I need it? Because not everything is going to just work off of contracts and word of mouth and stuff like that. Money talks, in other words. So I would go to these hard money lending events, and I was just like, how's these people getting this money? Like, what's going on? Like, how? And at the time too, I was a real estate sales agent in New York City. And I worked for Blue Egg, which is no longer exist. They got bought out, but they was my broker. They held my license.
Nice.
So I used to go to these hard money lending meetups, dressed with the blazer, tie, shake hands, introduce myself, give out my business card. And one of the guys I met was a trader too. So that's how he was making his money make money for him.
Gotcha.
When he got into the real estate side, he figured, you know, him being in finance already and working with numbers, he didn't want to touch physical property.
Yeah.
But he would buy them. But he just didn't want to be in it. He didn't want to touch it. So he was outsourcing a lot of his real estate to like property management companies and stuff like that. Right. So he has he opened one of those.
Nice.
And then he did his hard money lending. He started his hard money lending company. So when I was going to these events, he was I remember one time, one event was a hard money lending event where he lent 3 of the I won't say students, but the
attendees.
He gave 3 of them $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, to basically start up
seed money,
a real estate. Yep.
Yeah.
Venture. So, and he was their partners, obviously, but it's just having that power to do that. You know what I'm saying? If I need and if I have to, we're able to.
Yeah. You know, I was talking to somebody just the other day about that. Because you originally from St. Croix, right?
Yeah.
So like you've got this hustler's mentality where it's kind of like you didn't come, you know, into entrepreneurship with the idea that it's gonna work from the gate as soon as you started out. It sounds to me like you find ways to make what you want a reality, right? So you went to college. You said to me nothing about getting a college education. You didn't say anything about what you majored in. You told nothing about college. You talked to me about hustling, right? And then you've got this other thing. You're like, okay, well, we figured out how to drive and find these properties and do the valuation. We figured out how to use my computer, a software that gives us the valuation. We figured that out. You know, that we got burned, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to continue going on how we can get the money ourselves. Now we're going to get into the financing side. So you're constantly looking for like this growth, right? And you're looking for you to be in control of your situation also, right? So where does that come from? Is that like a New York edge, or is that like more of like how you grew up in St. Croix?
So it's kind of like a little bit of both, and then one person that I came across in my life, and he's like, I would say our one conversation kind of changed my whole perspective of my dependency on people.
Yeah,
let's say that.
But I want to go a little further though. Like, is this something that came from like the kids, like your childhood? Like when you
I'll get a little into it. So coming from St. Croix is a beautiful place to go. You know, you want to raise kids there, you definitely can.
I bet. What? Forget it.
You know, but it's like when you come from a certain place and into a different place, and you see like certain people's taking what they have daily for granted. It's like, it's like, okay, if you're working out in a gym, right? You don't have weights. You're lifting bricks, center blocks, buckets. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody invites you, and then you go to like a Planet Fitness,
right?
Where you have like automatic machines and treadmill. You're gonna go twice as hard.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's because you're used to going hard at where you came from, and then now it's like, oh, I can just do this, and then this will happen. Well, I'm about to just like go in now. So growing up, there wasn't in St. Croix, there isn't a lot of opportunities coming out of school in terms of extracurricular programs.
Yeah.
Sports is a big thing down there. And the trades is also a big thing down there. Construction, engineering, stuff like that. But not everybody can be those.
Right.
No, not everybody want to be those. So when you come into, let's just say, the Americas, and you see all these opportunities you have from 4th grade, 5th grade. Oh, I can be a news anchor and just say what's going to happen today in school, or what's on the agenda for school today, which I was in 5th grade. I used to come on at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
We used to have the TV in the corner of our classrooms, right? And then we used to come on, and we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance, sing the national anthem, say what's going on in school today. If we have PTAs, and what's for lunch.
Wow.
Dead serious.
Yeah.
So like that communications part was always in me.
Yeah.
Not being shy on camera. That was always in me.
5th grade. That's here in the States or in St. Croix?
So this was when we first moved from St. Croix. Okay. Me knowing me. My mom moved from St. Croix before, but I was like 2 years old. Then she moved back. But me knowing me as a person, I was 10 years old. We moved to Orlando at first.
Okay.
So I did 5th grade there, and 6th grade, and then we moved back to St. Croix again.
Wow.
So I did 7th grade in St. Croix, and then I moved to Brooklyn with my dad.
Okay.
And so when I moved to Brooklyn, it was like, okay, I went from Orlando to St. Croix.
Yeah.
To Brooklyn.
But you were still really self-aware at such a young age. Like in the 5th grade, you were super self-aware. You're like, I knew me. I knew what kind of person I was. You were really self-aware. Yeah. Yep.
And then so coming from Orlando to St. Croix to Brooklyn, a whole different life.
Wow.
Like everything is different. Yeah. It's a city life now.
Yeah.
Everybody's hustling. Everybody's on the bus. So everybody's about something.
Yep.
Right. So at the time I needed to be, I didn't know anybody like that. We just moved. So I played football in order to, gain some friends in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Pop Warner football. We played for Brooklyn Warriors.
Nice.
At Lincoln Terrace Park in Brownsville.
Yeah.
Yep. So met a couple friends, and then when I started going to school in 8th grade, started meeting more friends. Now, when I got to high school, was when the teachers that was around me was, I would say, gassing me.
Oh yeah, like telling you how smart you were.
But it was good gas though. It was hyping me for good reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of happy they instilled that in me and the confidence, because had they not, I probably wouldn't be as open as I am today.
Yeah.
But I was number 8th out of my class, graduating.
Yeah.
And then I went to the High School of Sports Management.
Nice.
At the Lafayette campus in Bensonhurst. So again, I went to a school that they kind of taught us everything that's happening now in today's technology. We used to vlog.
Wow.
We used to do podcasts. Dead serious. And people, you probably heard of Vimeo, right?
Yeah, Vimeo, yeah.
Okay. If you go to Vimeo and you search my name, you're gonna see me doing staircase interviews.
Get out.
I kid you not.
Wow.
But this is based on sports.
Yeah.
So this was when LeBron was in Cleveland, and then he went to
the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. So we used to do this. We had a virtual enterprise class where we actually ran a virtual business.
Wow.
It was a virtual enterprise. We had a CEO, COO, CFO.
Get out.
Advertising, marketing, president, vice president. We had all those roles in our business, and everybody was one of those.
Nice.
And then being just so happened, I was a vice president of the marketing sector of our business.
Huh.
So I was the one responsible of getting ads out, reaching out to other virtual enterprises. So each school that participated in the virtual enterprise program, we all was in one community.
Nice.
So we used to do business with each other. So we would trade
virtually.
Goods. Yeah, it was really an experience in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad, because that gave me a foundation of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So that's when you got hit with that. We got bit with that entrepreneurial bug, right? And you
and in high school. So it was there in that class. And then also in that class, they was teaching us stock market. We played a stock market game.
Wow.
Yeah, amongst
what school is this?
So it was the other schools, the other virtual enterprise schools. So I forgot the name of our company, because it's been, over 10 years now. Mm-hmm. But our company that we all had a certain amount of money that we had to invest in the stock market with. But we competed with other schools in Queens, Long Island City, the Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Brooklyn as well. So at the end of the year, the school that makes, or it wasn't the end of the year, but it started in February and it ended in May.
Wow. Okay.
It was that length of time. So at the end of May, whichever school made the most money, they received a scholarship to go basically for college, pay for books and stuff like that. And then you get a field trip to Wall Street.
Get out. Okay.
So yeah, so we didn't win. We didn't win, but just that experience again, they was teaching us these things, finance,
I got a better understanding now of how you came out with Soulye and how you made it so that it can appeal to like a broader demographic, because you were already in that field. You're already learning it from like such a young age. Now I get more of an understanding too about this like entrepreneurial, how you leverage college to like get into real estate wholesaling. Like all of it is starting to make sense now. Like you're connecting the dots for me. And then you also got that edge, right? Where you said like, you know, not having the fitness equipment, but then seeing it and then having it and then going hard because you see what you can actually do. So it's all starting to connect, right? That's incredible, man. Do you think like right now we're like with this pandemic going on and everything, like that's probably where, you know, high school kids or say junior high, do you think that's probably where they should be right now if we all decided to go virtual, if remote, because right now school is remote, right? So it's like, do you think that's probably where kids should be? Like that's what the curriculum should be to prepare.
So you mean as far as teaching virtually?
Yeah. Because a lot of people are opposed. They don't want their kids to do remote learning. They want their kids to go back in school. So do you think it would be better to have them do that kind of a curriculum?
So for me, I learn differently. I realize that too. I'm a different learner from everybody else.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not a good online learner. If I have to sit in front and listen to a teacher live, and I will not learn very well. To be honest, I had a couple online classes in college that I failed.
Okay.
And there was art classes.
How you fail an online art class?
Yeah, it's an online art class, and we had to watch this lady. And the only reason why it was online is because she taught from a different campus.
Okay.
And I was in Brooklyn during summer school. So
Gotcha.
I'm not going all the way down there to, you know, for an art class. So she was on the screen and it was the worst because I wasn't able to rewind.
Gotcha.
I wasn't able to rewind to get what I missed.
Right.
Sometimes she's talking and, you know, something might have failed and I looked away a little bit and I missed what she said, so I can't rewind it.
Yeah.
So speaking for me, if it was up to me, I won't learn too well virtually if somebody's doing it live.
Yeah.
Now, if it's pre-recorded,
then you can rewind.
I will definitely learn everything.
Gotcha.
And I realized me creating courses for students and some of my peers that I teach.
The day trading.
When I'm doing it live on Zoom, they miss a lot of things. So I have to repeat a lot. But a lot of teachers don't do that.
Right.
Because they only have a certain time frame to fit X amount of curriculum within.
Yeah.
You know, they may only have 45 minutes from, you know, 12 o'clock to 12:45 to teach this class.
Yeah.
And she has to get as much of it in as possible.
Yeah.
Without having to go back and repeat.
Yeah.
But being that if I'm teaching on Zoom and, you know, they're like, okay, well, you know, you say you missed something, I can go back and say, well, okay, well, this is what it is. Did you get it? This is what it is. Did you get it?
Yeah.
So when I'm creating courses, when I create it and, you know, you post it online, students can go back and rewind it if they miss something. They can pause it if they're getting distracted. You can't pause live teaching.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people forget you're still at home.
Yeah.
Home is where you're most comfortable.
Right.
You know, if your dog comes in, you're distracted off rip.
Yeah.
My dogs, one of them have to be outside the room because once they get to each other, they'll make a bunch of noise.
Right. And
so one is in the room with me and the other one is out there.
Gotcha.
So being that if you was teaching me something on live or if I was teaching you something on live and you got distracted, I would repeat myself, but you couldn't go back at your own convenience.
Yeah.
To get the information and register it how you want it to be registered.
Well, I'm just looking at it like from what you know, you now it comes to you naturally, like the way that you are able to say, you know what, I want to get into the financing side, or I'm going to leverage this, I'm going to do that. And, you know, I'm going to remove myself from the business altogether. And I'm just going to like, you know, let it do its own thing, have its own face and stand alone. The way that you think about it now, it's like it comes to you naturally. And that comes from you being exposed to it at an age where you were very impressionable as a high school kid. You know what I mean? And you were eager. That's the other thing. Like the kid has to be eager. He has to want to learn this thing. You know what I mean? And you got to have that passion. You got to have that passion driven. I think too, for you, what's interesting about you and your story is that you went to like Orlando and then you went back to St. Croix.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you got the best of both worlds kind of. And then when you came back in again and you moved in with your dad, you were at that age where you were like, this is where I can take action. I can like do my thing. I can control my destiny. Right. I think we kind of got comfortable like today, I think with us, especially with this pandemic, because we're isolated.
Yeah.
We can't really move around much. So we can't really be exposed to different ways of, you know, thinking or making money. We kind of got to stay where we're at, stationary. You know what I mean?
But that's my fear too. And I think that's another thing that fuels me, you know, fuels my drive, you know, and make me want to bridge the gap, the wealth gap a little bit.
Yeah.
Is the fact that the moment I feel comfortable, I get scared. Like it's a scary thing because it's like, if I'm comfortable and something bad happened, how do I get out of it?
Right.
How am I prepared for it? So like, I think the biggest mistake, like right now, like you said, we did get comfortable, is actually settling into that comfort.
Yeah. Because then it gives complacency, right? We start to come into complacency, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I understand that, you know, things are locked down.
Yeah.
But being that things are locked down, go do something you never thought about doing. Like I said, I learned to lay paver stones. I built a body gym, like a full body gym. You can do pull-ups, bench, dips, everything on this one 9x4x5 body jungle gym I built in my backyard.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole bunch of things that I didn't know that the average person don't think about, but it's like, just go try it.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah.
And then another thing too, like with me is, I know what the end goal is.
Yep.
Like I know what can happen from this tree that I planted.
Mm-hmm.
I know the fruits that it can bear.
Yeah.
I know the fruits can feed my family.
Love it.
It can feed the people who walk by it. You know, and that's my big thing too. So it's not even, it's bigger than me, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's bigger than me, myself. Everything that I'm doing, it's past me. It's more of
future generation.
How am I impacting the person next to me?
Yeah.
How can I impact the person that calls on me?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I impact person in the future that needs me?
Nice. Yeah. I love it. Tell me.
And what can I bring? And I look at it as, if I'm coming to you, I want to bring something to the table. You don't have to ask for anything.
Right.
But that's just me. When I come in, I want to bring something to the table.
Yeah.
If we having a discussion, I don't just want to have you talking. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have you, you know, I want to be the one, okay, let me tell you, this is what it is. This is what I have to offer.
Yeah.
And then we go from there.
Contribute.
But and that's just always me. That's always me.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's the end goal. It's the knowing what can happen.
Yeah. Do you think your dad's influence, or like who are some of your influences? Like if you, because you're so wise, man. Like you're not just thinking about right now, and it's consistent. Because even if you're thinking about, you know, you going to school and you studying and you're learning how to have a virtualized business and trading stocks and all of that, you are thinking ahead. You're forward thinking. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering, like, I don't look at people as their age. It's hard for me to look at people as their age, like chronologically. I always think if you have a certain level of influence, if you had good mentors, then you are, maybe chronologically you are your age, but you're wiser, right? Yeah. You have applied knowledge, then you're actually older. You know what I mean?
I get that a lot. So I'm 27, but people think I'm in my early 30s, mid 30s.
So who are some of your influences?
Nothing because of looks, but so some of my influence, number one, I'll say, is my dad. Number one, because I think he's the one that instilled discipline in me.
Yep.
And when I say discipline, I mean discipline. I was in school discipline, on the field discipline, on the track discipline, in the house discipline. Yeah. So it was never a time where, you know, obviously I did get in trouble for little things, but it was never a time where it was out of line, you know, where oh, Jah did this. No, it was never a time like that. So me having respect for the world, people, and myself, and having discipline, everything. Number one is my dad.
Yeah, me too.
Because I never. It's like Caribbean parents. You never want to make them look bad.
Don't embarrass me. Yeah, don't embarrass. Don't make me look bad, man. Yeah,
exactly. So that was that. That was one thing I always had in the back of my head is I just don't want this to get back to my dad, and then he get disappointed. So I was always on a thin line with that.
Yeah.
And then so in school, at home, it was him. And in sports, it was him. And then obviously some other professional athletes, if you want to go there.
Yeah, I'm wondering about external influences too.
Yeah, when I did play football, it was Reggie Bush.
Okay. Oh,
I love his game. Yeah, I love his game. And then when I did run track, it was just me. I because I ran 400 hurdles, and I didn't think anybody was, even professional athletes, I never thought they was better than me. Yeah. And I ran against some of them.
Really?
A couple of times. Yep. Yeah. In Florida and University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Ran against a couple of professional athletes. But and then as far as in the real estate business, you probably heard of him, Jay Morrison.
Oh yeah, he's a beast. He has a whole
he used to personally mentor me.
Really? You signed up for his course? Or just like
so,
he's the guy?
This was before he became on Instagram, prominent on Instagram. This was Jay Morrison Academy.
Right, JMA.
Like way back. He was living in Jersey at the time. I don't know if he still lives there, but
he was with Sotheby's, I think. I forget what office he was with. I got my real estate license in like 2008. I started real estate in 2010, and you don't find a lot of black guys in the city selling condos and co-ops. But then I came across Jay Morrison Academy, just like looking online to see who I can learn from. And then I came across his stuff, and then he went complete wholesale.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's a different ball game. But I started following his stuff because his whole story, like transitioning from like a dope boy to becoming like, a lender and all of that.
A lender.
Yeah. So when you found him, like you say, he mentored you personally, like how'd you find him?
So, oh man, the thing, one day I forgot the place, but there's on Atlantic Avenue and Atlantic and 4th Ave. There is a building that used to host poetry slams and stuff like that. Okay. So he came for a speaker's event.
Nice.
One time, and this was before he was like I said, big name.
Yeah.
I didn't even think he started JMA yet.
Okay.
Right. And he came for a speaking event, and after the panel was done, I went up and I ran up to him, and I just shook my hand, introduced myself.
Nice.
And then he just liked my energy at that point. He gave me a card and he said, "Give me a call this weekend."
Yeah.
Now at the time,
dreads, right? He was trying to get people to cut their dreads off at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the time though, I was still going through some stuff and going back and forth to school. That semester that I took off and I came back home. I got plugged in with him. What he was doing at the time, I don't know if you remember, he had the Google glasses.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and now I think Apple's coming out with some glasses, but he had the Google glasses. Yeah, he had the Google glasses that recorded, first person, so you can see transactions, in meetings, closings, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he had an orange Lamborghini. Right? He had an orange Lamborghini he used to go to Home Depot with and give out his business cards. That's how I knew. That's why I got that idea of just going to Home Depot and just give out your business cards in real estate.
Yeah.
Me and my business partner in Nashville used to do that faithfully.
Yeah.
Leave a stack outside, even if it gets soggy and wet.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. So once he did that, one time he invited me out. He invited me out, and we did the same thing. So we did the handing out business cards.
Yeah.
And everything. Had lunch, and then so he was guiding me on certain things. I would run certain deals by him and stuff like that.
Nice.
And he would give me inputs, and then he just blew up.
Yeah,
but eventually the thing is though, even if you have a mentor, like eventually you would not need him again.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And not to say anything, but it's like I grew so much that, all right, Jay, I think I can swim on my own now.
Yeah, that's why I asked you who your influences are, because I'm sure they're all proud of you, man. Like, I'm sure they're all proud of who you've become and who you're about to become. You know what I mean? And I think for you, when you look in retrospect, you're like, you're going to pay it forward, right? Like, you're going to be able to help a lot of people get through their setbacks, right? So,
of course,
like, what would you say right now to some people, you know, maybe young or old, doesn't matter, who probably, you know, are going through a hard time right now? They want to start the business, they want to launch, they want to quit the job, you know, or maybe they want to scale their businesses, but there's a lot of risk involved. What would you say, like some words of wisdom?
Well, fear, number one, fear is it's only there if you allow it to be, right? Everybody is scared, and it's not even fear. It's just anxiety. It's the not knowing. And it's the fear of missing out. FOMO. That's what it is. It's not knowing, and it's FOMO. So when you add those two things together, you get scared. Because you don't know, you don't want to see what the results will be. So always go with your heart. No matter what anybody say, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter what your mentor say, your pops, your mom, always go with your heart. Because at the end of the day, it's always going to be just you.
That's it.
It's always going to be just you. You'll have your casting support, you'll have your backbones and everything. But when it's time to fight the fire, it'll just be you. So go with your heart. Now, that being said, there's going to be friends around you, you know, that you're going to tell your ideas with. Some of them will congratulate you. Some will be happy for you. Some of them might ignore it, go in one ear, come out the other. Don't let that stop you from doing what you want to do. You don't need anybody else's validation.
Amen.
Okay? That's the main thing. You don't need anybody else's validation. When I created my shoe, I created the shoe first, and then I asked people what they think. I didn't ask them what they think and then go do it. No.
I create the shoe.
So, and even if they didn't like it, I was still gonna do it anyway.
Nice.
But so even if you have friends around you, some will, you tell your ideas, some will be proud, some won't. But, and at the same time, some will only become interested when your results start to show.
That's right.
You know, and no hard feelings. You shouldn't have no hard feelings or anything personal against them. But with that being said, if you at that moment, once you let them know of that idea or your plans or your goals or something, and they're not with you or on the same mindset, you got to start distancing yourself, and not distancing your relationship with them, but distancing your physical self. So that means compartmentalizing. So if you know at this certain time, like for me, between 9:30 and 11 o'clock, I'm on the stock market and I'm trading. I'm not socializing with my friends. I'm not texting my friends. I'm not hanging out with my friends. I'm not going out for brunch. So a lot of times they may think, oh, he's, you know, being phony, being fake, or whatever the case is, but you're not helping my end goal. You're not helping my mental. You're not helping what I want to do.
Right.
So at the same time, you're going to keep the same friendship, relationship, whatever you have. You know, you're still going to text them. You're still going to joke, send memes, crack, you know, hang out when the time comes to hang out. But when it's time for you to do things, you have to separate your physical self. Because if one book I always recommend people reading, 48 Laws of Power.
Robert Greene.
Right?
Yeah.
You want to, one of the laws, he says, disassociate yourself with the unhappy.
Oh, wow.
Disassociate yes.
That's a good one.
It's true.
Yeah.
Disassociate yourself with the unlucky. Because where you put yourself around, you become.
That's it.
So if you want to become a millionaire, you want to put yourself around millionaires.
There you go.
And that's why people think, oh, you just blow up overnight after you make something. No, after you make money, you elevate yourself. You go into a different room. So if if last night you ate at this restaurant, and I don't watch people's pocket, but you ate at this restaurant and it's kind of pricey and you spent $5,000, but you made $50,000, and you're able to go eat at a $10,000 restaurant where you can network and meet somebody, go do that.
Go do that.
Go do it.
Yeah.
That's all investment. That's how I look at certain things too.
Yep.
I'm not splurging, I'm investing.
There it is. Yeah. That's how Trump built his golf courses.
Listen,
get done on the golf course.
Know?
You know, so he's like, I'm just gonna get people to come to me now. And then he's doing business without doing business. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. So you always want to be around what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So for me, like when I started to get into the trading part, I started just literally following traders. I was not following celebrities. I was not following friends. I was not tweeting celebrities. I was not tweeting friends. I wasn't going to look at celebrities pages or friends pages. I was going to look at traders pages, find out, what stock did they trade today? And I would ask random questions. A lot of times they won't answer me because they get hundreds of DM. Yeah. But on Twitter, I would go on the live and ask them certain questions.
Right.
And then a lot of the stuff I learned is literally just from reaching out to people. Yeah. From what I want to accomplish. So if I'm in the finance industry, I'm going to be reaching out to finance people and ask certain questions. Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, but there are stupid people because they don't ask questions.
Well put, man. Well put.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
That one is going to sting a little bit. That's a fact, though. You're 100% right, man. You're 100%.
I'm just saying it is. Yeah. It won't be easy. There's times you're going to fail. And I think that's another thing that fueled me is a failure. I love failing because you learn something. I love failing. In hindsight is your best friend.
To learn, yeah. There's a fear of failure.
Hindsight is your best friend, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, whether it's good or bad, you will always learn something.
Yeah.
And then like I said, the exciting part, it's literally fixing your previous problem. So learning where you failed at. Yeah. Succeeding where you last failed and surpassing where you left off.
There you go.
There's nothing wrong. And I'm telling you, that's the best pleasure you can ever have. It's like yesterday you couldn't run a mile. Today you ran 3/4 of a mile. Tomorrow you just ran 1.5 miles.
Yep.
Ain't nothing better than that.
Yeah. It's progress little by little, just progress.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think too, that's how I take life, is trying to be better than I was yesterday. Yeah. So I'm gonna always try to outdo what I did yesterday.
Yeah. I like what you said about running. I like what you said about running track and field. You're like, I didn't compare myself to any of them because I always thought I could beat any of them. Right. Yeah. So it's like, that's the competitive edge right there that a lot of people lack. They don't have that. Even if you're thinking about, who's the best, like, I like what you said. You're very consistent too. It's like, when you're thinking about getting into wholesaling, I want to follow the best. I want to talk to the best. So then you found Jay Morrison and you're like, when I got into day trading, I want to follow the best. I'm following only traders, right? But then at the same time, you also have this part of you, the way that you think, the way that your mindset is, and you're like, no, I can be the best, right? So then it's like you separate yourself from that and you compare yourself to yourself, not to other people. And I think a lot of people suffer there. They try to compare their success or their failures to other people's success, and they like, well, I can't make it. I'm never gonna make it because look, this person is what age, or you know what I mean? It's like, no, don't compare yourself to that person. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, and progressively evolve progressively. Take your time, respect the process. Yeah, right? That's what you're saying.
A lot of people lack that. They try to do it overnight.
Yeah,
like for me, when I started trading, it took me 5 years. We're in 2020. This year is the first year that I've been consistently profitable.
Nice.
And when I say consistently profitable, I mean on a daily, I'm winning every day.
Nice.
83.4% win rate.
Nice.
So obviously there's losses.
Yeah.
But last year, let's just say last year, if I made $300 today, I lost 305 tomorrow. So it wasn't consistently profitable. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas this year it was consistently profitable. And that's because I was doing my own research over the past 5 years. So even if I was following the best profitable day traders, after the information they gave me, I would go do my own research.
Got it.
no matter what. Even if it's the truth, you can tell me the sky it's blue and the sun is hot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find out myself.
Yeah. Fact check your fact checker. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just always me. And like I said, it can be true, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And then just like it's going back to wanting to be the best. Always believing that I'm the best, even though somebody else may not think I'm the best. And being humble about the fact that I want to get better is what allowed me to grow.
Continue
and what
to be
allows me to grow. Yeah. Because saying that you're the best gives you confidence, but being humble enough to know that you could be better gives you growth.
There it is. Yep. That's the development. Continue to develop. Let me ask you, right? So you say you teach day trading now, right?
Yep.
How do people get in touch with you? How do people, start to learn?
So if you do want to learn, right now I am dropping a free video series that I'm doing. It's going to be a 5-part video series.
Yep.
2 parts is already up on YouTube. And it's for free.
Okay.
This will be no cost. Like I said, I'm trying to give back.
Yeah, we're gonna plug that. We're gonna plug that here. We're gonna plug that with this podcast. We're gonna plug it, so the link and all will be available, right? Like, you'll send it to me, and I'll plug it here, right?
Okay.
Yeah, tell me more about, like, how do people get in? Do they get with you? Like, is it like online? Everything is online.
So right now, the YouTube stuff will be free, and then I'm actually creating content and I'm editing right now that will be on Udemy, which is a online service that provides instructions for people who want to learn and a platform for instructors to instruct.
Okay.
So I have my channel on there. I can give you that info too. There isn't any content on there yet because it's still in the works.
Okay.
But if you do want to reach out to me for personal lessons, they can reach out at Modern Margin Investments on Instagram. You can DM us.
Okay.
We're prompt. You get a respond right away.
Yeah.
I'm working with everybody, willing to work with everybody. Or you can just hit me personally on my Instagram at JahLewski. That's JahLewskii.
Okay.
And like I said, I do Zoom classes. So if you work or have a certain schedule that you want to work around, I'm flexible like that. We can work something out.
Yeah.
But like I said, the Zoom, I learn differently. So the Zoom works differently for everybody else. And I want to get to the point where all my content is on Udemy, so you can just go on and just watch the videos, so you can rewind, go back and forth, rewind. But for right now, we're doing personal teaching. So if you do want to reach out, you can reach out to me. And
I think that's big of you, man. It's really big of you, because you're not just hoarding all the information, you're teaching. And you also mentioned you wanted to bridge the wealth gap and you want to contribute. So it's like you're not coming to the table. You come to the table with something all the time, right? You add to the conversation. So, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, bridging the wealth gap is impossible. They don't want us to have a shot, whatever it is. And it's like, it's not racial. It's income inequality. There's like a class struggle. And I think day trading, if you're making a lot of money and you're winning consistently and you're learning from the best, people can learn from you. You know what I mean? And that's how you contribute to like that, bridging that wealth gap that you talk about,
Definitely. And I have testimonies. And so how I started out, I wanted to make sure my inner circle, so my peers, my friends, my teammates, I reached out to them at first. Now, obviously, everybody didn't fall with the idea of me teaching them.
Right.
But there was 7 of them, maybe out of like the 35 I sent out. 7 of them came in.
Nice.
I gave them lessons. And now, and I have testimonies in my phone and I can show you.
Nice.
One of them last week made $6,000.
Wow.
In a week.
Wow.
1 week.
Huh.
On Friday, because I asked him yesterday about a stock that we was in, and I said, are you going to get out? Because I'm getting out at the end of the day. Yesterday, he said, I got out on Friday, ended up with a $1,700 profit.
Huh.
Right? So my thing is, what I'm teaching them also, it's compounding.
Yeah.
So obviously, some people, you have $5,000, $2,000, $5,000 to start with. Cool, whatever the price is. But when you make a profit, don't go spend it. Don't go splurge it.
How much do you need? How much do you need to start out with?
So you want to know how much I started out with?
Tell me, yeah.
500 bucks.
Really?
Dead serious.
What are you buying, like half a stock or something?
So no. So when I'll tell you my trading story, because we didn't talk about that.
Nah, I mean, how much time do I have with you? You have a little bit of time?
Man, I have all day. I have all day.
Tell me, yeah.
All right.
Start out, because it's a tough time right now for people financially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that, and I definitely understand.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in a place where for me to just throw money away.
Right.
But when I got into trading, honestly, I was on a way back to college on a flight.
Okay.
There was a guy sitting next to me. He had, at the time, I didn't know what app it was, but as I learned and grew,
yeah,
it was E-Trade. He was using his E-Trade mobile app. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just constantly, when we was on the ground leaving the gate before we took off, he just, we're supposed to put our phones away, and he kept taking his phone out his pocket and just looking at it, putting it away, looking at it, putting it away. And me, oblivious to everything in the finance industry at this time, or about Wall Street. Yeah. I'm like, what is he looking at? And all I see is just candlesticks, because that's what they're called, the green and red candlesticks.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, he's just, that's a stock market, whatever. Okay. Put my headphones in, I'm listening to music. And eventually he asked the flight attendant for Wi-Fi. There was no Wi-Fi on the plane.
He's supposed to have his phone out.
Yeah. So he asked if there was Wi-Fi on the plane, but there was no Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And he was mad, to the point where when we was, I think, like under 10,000 feet descending, he turned his phone right on.
Yeah.
Because I think under 10,000 feet, you have phone service.
Okay.
So he turned his phone right on, immediately.
Yeah.
Looking at the phone, and then he's like, yes. Yes. And I'm like, and I'm looking at this guy like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
So I just, like I said, oblivious to everything. And now he got this smile on his face. He's like so happy. He put his phone back in his pocket.
Yeah.
We land, and he makes a phone call. He's like, yeah, I'll be out there soon.
Yeah.
Eventually I never saw where he went. But so that was my first time. I say the universe was trying to send me a message of, Jah, this is what you need to do eventually.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward into the semester that I took off. I got my real estate license. One of my clients was a Forex trader. And I'm not talking about the IML things that people's doing now, to sign people up, get 250. No, I'm talking about he is
real Forex.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy, I had a couple of apartments that I had on my listings. Mm-hmm. And what I always did was I had 3 high-end apartments in Brooklyn, 3 high-end apartments in the Bronx, 3 high-end in Manhattan, 3 high-end in Queens, and 3 high-end in Staten Island.
Nice.
I didn't really go to Staten Island a lot because you had to drive there or take the ferry, but I always just had listed them.
Right.
One of the high-end apartments was in Prospect Heights. Mm-hmm. The other one was in Brooklyn Heights, and the other one was in Dumbo. Mm. So guy calls, said, yeah, I want to see this apartment Thursday at XYZ time. I think it was like 11 o'clock. Mm. Went to see him, meets him in Dumbo. We go upstairs into the apartment. Can you believe he never listened to a word I said? You want to know why? He was on his phone the whole time like this.
Trading
the whole time.
It's addicting. It's addicting.
It is. It really is. Yeah, and that's a scary part too.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into that as well. But it got to the point where he was just on his phone, and then he was like, yeah, I'll take it. Just like that.
Like that. Yeah.
Just like that. And so I asked him like, what is it that you do? He said, I trade. Mm. The same dude, come to find out, he lived on Flatbush Avenue and going towards downtown. It was Flatbush. And I want to say St. Mark's.
Okay. So like, what is that?
Right before the Barclays.
Slope. Yeah, it's like South Slope.
South Slope. Yep. It's right. Yep. So South Slope. Yep. So, so one day I'm leaving the office.
Yeah, he's upgrading.
I run into him.
If he's going from South Slope to Dumbo, he's upgrading. Because
yes, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I run into him one day. How I run into him, his apartment was on the first floor. His computer was by the window. And when I walked by, I'm like, oh, it's a trader. And he stuck his head out the window.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Dang.
So he kind of told me, what he was doing a little bit. And this guy was making like 60,000 a day.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. You got to know what to trade, though, because it's not always like that.
It's not always like that. And that's another thing. You have to know there's always opportunities, but the opportunities is never the same.
Right. Yeah. You got to be ahead of the game. Do you watch Billions?
I used to. A little bit when I stopped watching TV, because I haven't really consistently watched TV over the past 2 years or 3 years per se, since 2017. Because I've been on like a different grind. But I used to watch Billions heavy. That was my
it's the best, right? No, it's the shit. Like, it's the truth. Like, that show right there, it's an adrenaline rush. I watch it and I'm like, Bobby Axelrod. It's like based on a true story. You know
yep, it is based on a true story.
Character, on a true character. You know what I mean?
It's based on a story of an attorney and his broker and like working on Wall Street and it's really a good show.
Yeah. So I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, I get it. But then there's also like down. There's like, it got a lot of the dips or extreme dips though. You know what I mean?
So now like, I'm gonna get there too. So eventually, like if you do have a dip, you can short the market. You don't have to always, you can make money going up and down. People don't know that. A lot of people believe you just make money going up.
Yeah.
Or you have to buy shares to have shares. You can make money in Apple without owning any Apple shares. You can make money in Tesla without owning any Tesla shares.
Wow.
And that's where a lot of people being not educated won't know. You won't notice if you don't know.
Right.
But so after that little moment we had, I helped him move in. To be honest, he took me out to lunch. First Tesla I ever rode in.
Nice. What year? What year was it?
This was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first Tesla I ever rode in. It was a champagne color.
Nice.
It was real nice. And so he was telling me like people to look up and stuff like that. So that's when I started doing my following of I'm gonna follow investors and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
One person he did come across, I won't say his name on here because I just don't want to get that kind of thing, but I will tell you eventually once we get off live. But he showed me to his page, and this guy's course cost $3,000. For a course. But when I come to find out, because I had some friends in the computer science field, and I was able to get it. But come to find out, the same information is on YouTube for free. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, the wrong way. Imagine I paid $3,000 for some free information.
I bet I know who you're talking about, and I bet I know that he's still doing it now, but he's not. He's doing more sales. He's doing sales, not teaching how to trade stocks.
You probably know who.
Teaching sales. He's not.
But I don't even want to give him no type of nothing. But so eventually, I'm like, what? This is what that is,
right? So
once I saw that, I'm like, wow. So now that's why I want to give free information.
Okay.
That's why certain information I want to give off for free. Now my strategy, like my specific strategy, I can teach you it. That's going to come at a cost because that's a priceless strategy if you ask me.
You're teaching how to win.
It's an algorithm I wrote.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's not like a code. It was actually using the technical indicators in the program itself, putting them together and creating a system that gives me signals.
Nice.
So it's not just, I see a dip, let me get in. Because you can get faked out. I see it's going up, it's uptrending, let me get in. Never like that.
What are they called, man? Is it like some kind of a bot? I forget what it's called, but I saw that and I was learning about that too because I was watching Billions. It's like Taylor had, I don't know how recently you've watched it, but like Taylor had hired some people to when she took over for Bobby, and she hired them to write an algorithm for her so that she could predict what the market's gonna do ahead of time by studying the trends, I guess. What is that called, man? It's like on the tip of I can't remember what it's called. That It's like some kind of a program. I forget what it's called. It's gonna come to me. I bet it's gonna be when we come off. It's gonna come to me.
So yeah, I was thinking that. So let me touch a little bit about that. To be honest, right? Wall Street is a funny place. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Right. When I make, $3,000 in a day, 4,000 in a day, that's like breadcrumbs. I'm not even lying to what the big dogs make.
I know. Yeah. I know.
You got to think the big dogs, they're managing. You watch Billion. They're managing $1 trillion hedge funds.
Yeah.
$1 billion hedge funds
at 2 and 20. So they keep getting
at 2 and 20.
Yeah.
So 2%, 20%.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's sick.
All they got to do is beat the market by 2%, and they get a 20% bonus.
Yep. And like you said, they know when to short the market when they get out. So it's like,
and that's why, like, even like now, Congress, they're having this big thing with like people in Congress taking money out the market now because of it's a real shaky business. And if you have like, I have a conscience, I have a heart of everything, but I'm not directly dealing with anybody.
Right.
So being that's the situation, I don't feel directly impacted by the fact that somebody's losing money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if I was directly handing money, like shares to somebody, and then I see like they're physically losing money, then it would probably bother me.
Right. Well, it's not any money. Like it's not
even any money.
None of it is really there. Like none of it is really there. There's no real money.
It's not even really any money.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's what gives me a little bit of ease about the whole thing. It's like, all right, it's not there. We really don't know. It's not backed by anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever the Fed says is there is what's there, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. How do you feel about Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin, I'm on the fence a little bit about it, but at the same time, I'm starting to see now. I used to be on the fence, but now I'm more on the Bitcoin side of the fence.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because they said dark web and everything. We started back then, early the 2000s, teens, 2009, 2010. Dark web make Bitcoin a thing. But not 2 years ago, I was when 3 years ago when the Bitcoin frenzy and everything happened, and it dipped to like 3,000. I said it was going to go back up, but not right away.
Yeah,
and it'll only go back up eventually as inflation go up.
Yeah,
and the U.S. dollar supply goes down.
There it is.
Because that's the only way you would able to bring up the value of the U.S. dollar. It's when you take when you remove them from out there.
Okay.
So, and then the pandemic made Bitcoin more of a thing because everybody don't have access to cash.
Yeah.
Everybody don't have access to a bank account. Now you can literally go on a phone, get Coinbase, get an app, buy half a Bitcoin, 2/3 of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
A quarter of a Bitcoin, a tenth of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You can buy $50 worth of Bitcoins.
Yeah.
And you can use that now to make transactions. You can buy cars with Bitcoin.
Oh, forget it. I remember in 2010, people were renting apartments with Bitcoin in the
city. Bitcoins. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I was renting apartments, and then I remember I came across some applicants who were like, "Well, we can do it with Bitcoin." I was like, "Nah, I'm out."
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't understand what it was at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Digital currency. So like somebody would ask me, right, or somebody would probably ask you, and I had these conversations. I have a cousin who's into like the markets, and I have friends who are into markets. Me, I like hard assets. I like real estate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I think about people, I hear that conversation. It's like, well, it's either you get into the markets or you get into Bitcoin. You're teaching day trading. You said you started out with $500, right? And you started to make money, and you have a winning strategy because you wrote an algorithm. I'm wondering, okay, if somebody is on the fence about getting into day trading or Bitcoin, what would you advise them to do and why? So
it goes back again. So what do you want to accomplish? Okay. What is your goal here? That's the first thing I always ask a student.
Mm-hmm.
What's your goal? So when we first meet, what is your goal? Are you looking for financial freedom?
Yeah.
Are you looking for another source of income? Are you looking to build an account, an emergency account?
Right.
What is your goal here? Obviously, it's to make money, but what would be the main reason for the money? Because the money you make or lose will affect that goal.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if let's just say, for example, you're trying to make money to go back to school in 2021, right? So you're gonna use or you're gonna go back to school at the end of 2021. So you're gonna use the first half of 2021, to grow an account, whatever the case may be. But the moment you make money, you start withdrawing and stuff like that. You might not go to school.
Right.
So let's just say now your goal is financial freedom, right? You don't have a job or whatever the case is. So obviously, when you make money, you're not just gonna withdraw money, because this is like your only source of income at the moment, at this point. Right. Which I won't tell anybody to quit your job to do right now, because this is something you can literally do at any time of the day, as long as you have internet service and your trading platform.
Yeah.
You can literally do this anywhere from 9:30 to 4 o'clock, any time of the day.
Yeah.
Anywhere on your phone, like I said, as long as you have internet and your mobile app.
Right.
So I would ask them, what is your goal? Second thing I would ask them, it's where was I?
What their goals are.
Yep. So what is their goal? And do your research.
Yeah.
So you said you wanted to get into Bitcoin. You say you wanted to know if you wanted to do Bitcoin, or did you want it to day trade? Now, day trading, you can day trading is just a method. It's not really a strategy. It's a method.
Okay.
You develop a strategy to execute this method, though.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you can day trade Bitcoin, just like you can day trade shares.
Oh, okay.
You can day trade options.
Okay.
You can day trade future contracts. So you can buy a Bitcoin right now at 12.45 and sell it at 12.46.
Okay.
And that's considered a day trade. So that's why I said, do your research.
Right.
Find out what day trading is, which I have my YouTube video that goes over what that is. And is it for you? If it's something that you should be doing. That's a question you got to ask yourself after you do that research. After you find out what day trading is and you figure out what is Bitcoin, you got to ask yourself, well, is this for me? How do you find out if it's for you? Well, go do some more research. Find out what's the upside of it and what's the downside of it. Upside is unlimited income, freedom. You're educating yourself, and you can make people around you better, right? And you can become your own bank.
Right.
You create your own capital eventually. The downside is you can lose money.
Right.
It can become addicting. Very, very addicting.
Yeah.
And then also it's emotionally stressful.
Tell me about it. That's why I can't get into that right now.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, all right? When the first time I watched, when I got the course and everything, and I was every day I got home from the broker. I used to be in the brokerage office. After I put up my listings, and I replied to my emails and stuff, I'm watching videos. Or I would go back home and just watch videos and wait for phone calls. So I would watch 3-4 hours of videos in a day. The next day, do the same thing. I built up enough confidence to open up a brokerage account. My first account I opened up was E-Trade.
Okay.
Right. I put $150 in there thinking I was a shit. Like, I'm about to go do it.
Right.
I made my first trade on a stock called GENE.
Okay. What was it?
Right. I can't even tell you.
Something super random. Yeah.
So I started off in penny stocks. So penny stocks are stocks that's under a certain market cap value. Right.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't mean it's under $1. There's stocks that's $10 a share, but it's still a penny stock.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just a market cap value. That's how it's considered a penny stock. So
gotcha.
I traded GENE. I bought like 70 shares or something like that for like just under $1. And I sold it. I made like $8 after commissions.
Okay.
Or something like that. And I felt good. I made $8 for the first trade, something that you feel proud of.
Yeah.
The next trade lost $70.
Dang. Yeah, that's why.
So then I closed my laptop. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this tomorrow. Tomorrow came around, the next trade, lost half of what was left. And then I took a break. I'm like, yeah, I need to go back and do some more research.
Yeah.
So I started doing research on what I did wrong. So like I would do, you know, why getting out too early? How do you know when to get out? When do you know when to enter a trade and stuff like that? So that's what I was looking at specifics now.
Yeah.
Where I went wrong, and that's what I was looking for. So I tried again, funded my account again for the second time.
Yeah.
Blew that up in a week.
Wow.
All because of me being emotionally unstable. I get in, right? And so it's penny stocks. It's very volatile. So it could go up or down crazy. Yeah. So I would get in, and then like 30 seconds later it dropped like by 50 cents.
Yeah.
And I would get out, and then 30 seconds later it shoots up $1.
You got to sit tight. Yeah.
So, but that was my second time. I didn't know anything about, you know, patience, being disciplined, sticking to your strategy, not going against the grain. That all came with experience.
Right.
So long story short, I blew my account 4 times to the point where E-Trade with, I had a negative balance with E-Trade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it got that bad.
Yeah.
I lost so much money in one trade that my account went into negative.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was like negative $70-some, and I didn't pay it for like a while because I stopped trading for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I started doing more research. And then when I started making I was making money, but it wasn't consistent. I would make 50, but lose 40. I was short in the market. And my first big break I got was with Kodak. Okay. Kodak said they was going to release a blockchain. The camera company, film company, was going to release a blockchain and cryptocurrency division of the company. Okay. But what they was going to do was restructure the whole business instead of just creating a new division of new people. They was going to restructure the whole foundation of Kodak and filmmaking. That's like Apple going to restructure their whole thing to make cars. Yeah. You know, like just keep it Apple and just create a subdivision, Apple cars. Right. Just like Tesla has SpaceX. Right. They didn't restructure their whole foundation to part of it, you know, launch a rocket. Yeah. They just create a new subdivision. Yeah. So that's where Kodak went wrong. So Kodak went from like $7 to like $13 a share overnight. And I shorted it from like 12 back to like 8.
Explain what shorted means.
So shorting is basically, it's a short sale. Yeah. In real estate is different. Yeah. So when you short selling and on Wall Street, you're basically betting against the stock going up. Yeah. Yeah. So most people, traditional investors, they buy shares or buy options hoping that the stock goes up. Yeah. That's a bull. Yeah. I mean, you're bullish. Yeah. On the opposite side, you have bears or bearish people or bearish investors who short the market or short sell. Yeah. And they have hopes that the market or the commodity goes down.
Right. So like right now, let's give it like a real live example. Right now, stay at home stocks like Zoom, Google, all this stuff right now is a good time to short that market because of the vaccine. That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is if Biden wins, then it's a good time to be bullish on that market, because if Biden wins, then we're all going to go into lockdown again.
Yep. Right? So now like this is time. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was explaining this to somebody the other day. Yeah. And they said it's similar to what you're saying, but you actually touched on it perfect. Yeah. So stay at home stocks,
all
like
speculation,
you said.
Though. I just want to that it's all speculation.
Wall Street is all speculative. Right. All of it is. Yeah. So like you said, stay at home stocks. So you got Docu, which is the electronic document signing. You got Zoom. You got Google, Facebook. All of these stay at home stocks. Yeah. The thing with me, how I've evolved now, it's the fact that I'm not getting in unless it's time to get in. I'm almost always cash liquid.
When is the time to get in for you? Is that after the election is done?
So like for me, like right now, as far as stay at home stocks, I would wait until inauguration.
Got you. Yeah.
I'm not telling you to miss out.
Right.
I'm not giving you financial advice.
Just study
at the same time. But for me,
yeah,
I would wait until after the inauguration, because now you would know exactly where the country is heading. If it's, I mean, New York, we at what, 11,000 cases again?
Yeah. But
so
with that being said, Carnival is up. Boeing is up. Boeing is up. Carnival is up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Boeing is up. Carnival is up, and that's because of the holidays.
Yeah.
I have a watch list that just watch strictly. It comprises of airline and cruise line companies. But airline in particular, it's up because the holidays. We just had Thanksgiving. So there was a little bit more of travel traffic. You got Christmas coming up. You have New Year's coming up. There's still certain places that's still open, so people are still going to go there.
Gotcha.
And then there are still Caribbean islands that's pretty much wide open, so people are still going to go there.
Gotcha.
So that being said, we have earnings coming up as well on these companies. So they're projected to do better than the last quarter because travel went up.
Yep.
So now what people are going to do is people has been buying, and now I actually own a couple long-term airline company shares, and it's not even a couple, it's actually one. It's Boeing.
Okay.
And the reason why, they do more than just airlines.
Yeah.
They hold majority of our GOP. So if anything, they would never let Boeing fail.
Yeah.
Because they too work with our aero defense sector of our country.
Yeah.
So they make fighter jets and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So they have a military contract. So if anything, they're the good ones.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back just a little bit, because I took you off your original train of thought. I just wanted you to explain like shorting the stock, right? So like people don't know some people do know, but a lot of people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I learned because I watch Billions. That's the only reason I know that. I swear to you, that's the only reason.
You got to learn some way.
Yeah, right. But I just wanted to make it like so that it's applicable now for today's current market, so they can understand what that means, right? For you though, I want to get back to like you and how you said, you know when to go in, right, and make that bet. So like if somebody wants to like say, hey, Jah, I want to start learning from you, and I have 500 and I want to get started, what would you say to them about like some current markets right now that seem like they are a good bet to get into, where you would either short or go long?
So so once again, that goes down to the goal: long term or short term.
Okay.
So if you're looking at long term, right now we at an all-time high in markets. Like we've never seen these numbers ever in our life. We're at 370s right now. I'm actually trying to watch it a little bit, but we're at 370s right now. We've never touched this before ever. Now I do feel like we are overextended because we've had 7 consecutive days where we've been up. We've opened below where we closed, but we've closed higher than we've previously closed, if that makes sense to you.
From like last year around this time?
So no, from the previous day.
Oh, okay.
So over the past 4 or 15 trading days, which is Monday through Friday, not including the Thanksgiving.
Okay.
The market has been going up, right? We've had pullbacks, but the only pullback has been maybe 200 points below what it closed on the previous day.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So let's just say yesterday it closed at 368. This morning it probably opened at 366. But now we're up to 370. You see what I'm saying? So it pulled back slightly, and then it went back up past previous highs.
Okay.
So that's a sign of overextension. So that means that there's a lot of buying going on because people have FOMO. They fear missing out. So eventually now, I don't know when, I may have an idea, but typically we see this every year from October to November, and then from November going into December. Okay. You see most of the dumps come around the holidays. So last year we did have a flash crash. Like we crashed a lot last December. for like 2 days, and then January came, and then we started going back up into new highs. But if you're going short term, long term, it depends. If you're going long term, I won't short the market right now.
Okay.
If you're a long term investor, I would not short the market right now.
That's why I would feel safe. I'm just thinking about that. Like if I was coming in, I'd be like, give me something long term that I don't have to worry about it too much. That pays me like a quarterly dividend or something. You know what I mean?
And then that too. So like how I teach, and then if you are bullish, then I would wait for the retracement. I would wait for the drop and then get in.
Okay.
That's if you're bullish.
Yeah.
Now for me, when I teach my students, we have our Discord chat and everything. So when I'm getting into a position, I let them know, hey, I'm getting into Tesla's call options that expire December 11th with X strike or with a $700 strike price. Once I give them that, I tell them the reason why I'm getting into it. So it's way beyond just my algorithms just telling me signals.
Yeah.
I break down what the algorithm is telling me to them.
Okay.
So for example, if we add a previous, if support and resistance is a big thing when you're trading. So if we're at a new high, right?
Yeah.
I would wait for the little dip normal people would wait after the new high to come down to get back in.
Okay.
What they don't realize is new highs mean there's no prior resistance. You see what I'm saying? So when you see a stock go up and then it drops, that means there's a big seller right there.
Yeah.
Right? That means somebody's selling a lot of shares at this price point.
Yeah.
Now, if you break this price point, what happens? It'll keep going because there's no other seller trying to sell shares at that price.
Gotcha.
So it'll keep going. So that's why people miss out on a lot of opportunities because it's like, I should have got in and I didn't get in.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So a lot of times when I do get in a position, I break it down to my students. Well, look, I'm getting in this position because Tesla's previous high was $700 a share, but now it just hit 701.
Yeah.
So the moment they broke that previous high, in theory, there's no resistance. So you would get in for a quick trade or whatever the case is.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you put it right back on the individual. Like you give them enough information so they can make an informed decision, and then they can figure out how they want to play, depending on what their goals are going to be. And then you just show them how to play based on the decision they've made, so that they have full accountability. And it's not like you telling them how to trade.
Yeah.
How to make an informed based trade.
Yeah. And that's what I try to do. I don't try to run and tell people what to do. Because if I was a boss, I won't be that boss that tell you what to do.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, I tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and I'll break it down for you so you can see it.
Right.
And then if it makes sense to you, based on your goal, what you're trying to accomplish today, based on your account goal, it's up to you to make that trade.
Yeah. Got you.
And then when I'm getting out, I would give an example. For example, I would say about last week, I got an Apple when it was like 117 a share.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm going to get December 18th expiration call options on Apple. But it's going to be a tough area around 122 and 125. That's because there's a lot of resistance there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sellers up there.
Right.
So in other words, when I say it's going to be a tough, once it gets to between 122 and 125, it's going to be a tough area. It's going to take a couple of days to go out of there.
Yeah.
I said you can use that as your target, so you can get out there.
Yeah.
Or you can use that point as where you want to add. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can get out there, or you can add to your position, or you can just let it ride.
Right. I think what sounds good is like it has potential to go up to like 122, but if it dips lower than 117, you're in trouble. So sit tight.
That's it. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So and then on the backside, so like if we got it, I got in at 117. I have it's a stop loss, a mental stop loss.
Okay.
So, but that's already plotted on my charts. So it's a lot of technicals as well. So
it'll take you out.
So the thing is, it's not automatic though.
Oh, okay.
Because how these big stocks work is sometimes it drops $3 and people panic out. And that's just because the big ballers, the billions,
Yeah.
they the one that control the market.
They're shorting the market, those guys.
Yep, they really do control the market. So what they did is, this is what they do. It's called arbitrage, right? They would buy, or for example, me, if I was one of those guys, I bought it, I wanted to get in at 117, I would sell at 117 instead, make it dump to like 114, and then buy it right back again on a different exchange. So I would sell it on the New York Stock Exchange for like 117 a share, like short sell.
Yeah. And
then rebuy it on the Chicago Stock Exchange for 114.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There's only one word for that. Exhilarating, right? That's the only one word. It's like, that's exhilarating. Like, there's no other word for that. Because once you can do some shit like that, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? You know it's gonna go back up and it's gonna skyrocket. You know what I mean? Exactly.
And that's what they do. They would, like, if they want to buy a stock at a certain price, they would drive it down to that price to buy it and then drive it back up where they want it to go.
Yo, I could never understand how Taylor stays so calm. Like, when you watch that show, she's like a freaking robot, right?
You have to be.
Yeah. I'd be losing my mind.
The moment you let your emotions get in, it's over. It's over. It's over. I'm not gonna lie. Everybody's emotion is attached to their money.
Sure.
You can't tell me no, it's not.
No,
if I go and I take $50 out your wallet, you'll be pissed as hell right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
of course. So everybody's emotion is attached to their money. And a lot of people are gonna say, yeah, I can control my emotions. Yeah, it's all psychological.
It's all psychological.
It's all the moment you panic, you see a little drop and you're like, oh, let me get out.
It's logic. I think it's all logic. Like, if you could take away the psych part from it, it's all logic.
It's all logic.
The way you're explaining it in a logical way that I could even understand it. I'm not even in the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just take what I learned from, like, watching Billions and, like, you know, Wolf of Wall Street and other shows like that. And then I listen to what you're saying. I'm like, okay, I can apply what he's saying because now it's logical.
It's
right? Yeah.
So when she made the dude write an algorithm, you know, to give her signals and stuff like that.
Right.
A lot of times you have to let the stock work. So there was days where, no lie, I made 11,000 in a day. Like during COVID.
Can you take that money out and then, like, pay tax?
Yeah, I actually have a debit card hooked to my brokerage, so I can swipe my card.
Nice.
Sometimes I transfer money to my different bank account.
Nice.
When I get to a certain amount of money, just so I don't overtrade. That's another problem people face. Yeah. I'm having that with one of my students now. I'm trying to make him overcome overtrading, which means, okay, you made $1,200 today. That's cool. Go enjoy your day. Go have lunch. Go chill with your girl. Go to the gym. You already made $1,200 today.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where if he made $1,200, he want to make $1,500 more.
Yeah.
You know? So what I always tell him is, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered and turn to bacon.
Yeah. That's deep. Ouch.
It does. The moment you try to be greedy, you're gonna be toast.
Yeah. So 500 is a good way to start. You could start with 500. You should.
So the reason why I say 500 is because every student that I have started with a different amount. So I know what you would have to invest in to grow this 500 to 1,000. Because if you have a $500 account, you're not going to be able to trade. You will be able to, but your profit potential will be less. But you won't be able to trade the Tesla options that I trade. But if you have $500, you can trade Apple options. You can trade American Airlines options. You can trade Boeing options because they are usually cheaper. Tesla options usually cost anywhere from, when it's in the money, anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, depending on how it's moving that day.
Wow. Yeah.
The stock, believe it or not, stock options can go up 100,000% in one day.
That's crazy.
And the stock itself only moves 0.5%.
Yeah, that's crazy. Where do you see us going in the next 3 to 5 years? Do you think we're gonna get, or like maybe 10 years? Do you think we're gonna get into like a digital currency or like cashless system altogether? Do you see that happening?
Well, we're already there. I mean, we have Apple Pay. We have it don't even have to be Apple Pay. You can put your bank card onto your phone now and just literally go to the pumps. I mean, that's what I've been using at the pumps now. It's my phone, just run it against the machine and put in. But I think we're gonna go there, being that they started credit cards in the 80s, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Give or take, I think it is the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they started credit cards in the 80s. And I think that was the stone that led to the pavement of where we at now. It went to now it's like if you go to the bank, like my local bank right now, probably don't even have $100,000 for me to take out in cash because they don't keep that much in cash. It's a real small bank,
right?
But they don't keep that much in cash at the bank. So they had to like order the money. So that's another thing that you realize, like, okay, we are going into a cashless society.
Yeah.
And then even we're going paperless.
Yeah, well, the Fed's gonna have to stop printing money at some point, right?
That's the thing. I mean, the moment we started going paperless, everything is online. We knew money was going to be next, and money is next. Bitcoin is here, Ripple coin is here, Ethereum is here, Lex coin is here. Now we have celebrities making their own coins. But then they're those celebrities too gotta watch it, because the SEC is coming after people who don't do their thing the right way.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You got Zuckerberg making that Libra, I think he's calling it.
Yep. Right? And that's going to be on Facebook, and that's probably going to be another big thing too, because of Facebook itself.
Yeah, what they're going.
And once it hit the cryptocurrency market, then that's, who knows, that thing could blow up because of just Facebook.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. All right, I learned so much from you, like on so many different levels, especially in the stock game, man. Like I feel a little bit more. I feel okay with like maybe not losing 500, right? And then just knowing that somebody who knows what he's talking about can guide me through it. So if I really had to think about it, I'd say, all right, 500 is not so bad. That's not bad. If I can grow 500, my money's making money, and I can sleep easy at night, I'll be all right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
Like when I started with 5, and I remember the next day I woke up, that 5 was like $8,000.
Nice. Yeah. What? Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't a luck of the break. It was just I knew what to expect. Me failing 4 times.
Yeah.
All right. I know. Okay, this is what. I didn't even use a whole 5. It was really $482.30.
Down to the cent. That's real. Yeah. I want to play a quick game. Let's play a quick game before we wrap up.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
It's called Hands Down the Bottom Line. Hands Down Lightning Round, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you your opinion about 3 topics.
Okay.
If you don't like the topic, just go ahead and say pass. We'll move on to the next one. Whatever what you feel strong about. So like your truth, your hands down truth. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, my man coming out of St. Croix and completely cornering the market when it comes to entrepreneurship at a very young age, right? Where do you see us or yourself in the next and I say like yourself, but I mean like guys like you and me, right, who are like critical thinkers and try to just like capitalize off of, you know, setbacks and opportunities. Where do you see travel in the next 10 years? Do you see us expanding, like, you know, capitalism, like that capitalistic mindset from like America to places like St. Croix or like the Virgin Islands? Or do you see it being more like a laissez-faire approach, like let people do whatever they want?
I think it's going to be, when it comes to that, it's going to be people doing whatever they want. Because it's about what kind of experience that person wants. I mean, if you only give people certain options, then yeah, they're going to pick from that. But if it's like, okay, well, we don't have to be here, we can go here.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to pick. And then I mean like within the next 5 years, even travel may be different. How we go about traveling, maybe. I mean, it is now, but
yeah,
you know, in terms of the tourism part of it, per se, I believe it will be back around in terms of the revenue it used to bring to certain countries and stuff. But I think it'll be different like people will go because they didn't have the opportunity to before COVID, and then they see how quick life can change, that the very one moment they get to go, they will go.
Gotcha. Okay. So so capitalism versus socialism. What do you think works better for an economy?
I think you need a balance of both. That's life is about balance, and that's like saying you want all good and no negativity, because then, or all good and no bad, because too much positivity is in fact a negativity.
Wow, that's deep. I like how you put that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we got to have a balance of both. We got to have capital and a social society.
Yeah.
I'm a guy of balance. That's why.
No, that's a really good thought out answer, man. Because I've been thinking about that one. That's what's going on right now in Washington. You know, Biden is more social and Trump is more capitalist.
Capital, and we kind of need a little bit of both.
Yeah, it becomes bipartisan, and it's like reduces the divide, right? The generational wealth gap. Do you think that it's something that we can break in like say 10 to 20 years, or is it something that we could have to work towards in like, you know, more like 40 to 60 years?
I think we're on the way, like you said, 10 to 20.
Okay.
I would be surprised if it takes 20. And that too is because the platform we have now is giving us opportunities. You know, to think outside the box. You know, you said you started the podcast, you know, during the COVID and everything.
Yeah.
Had we not been on lockdown, not saying you wouldn't have, but it probably wouldn't have been a thought.
Right.
You know, same thing with me. I probably wouldn't have never tried to figure out how handy I am. You know,
right. With the deck,
I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have been trying to venture out. I wouldn't have try to make a shoe or anything like that. So I think there's benefits there as far as that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. And what is your bottom line, Jah? What's your bottom line? So like that reoccurring truth for you, that no matter what happens, in spite of any setback, you use this truth as rocket fuel and propels you forward. What's that for you? What's your bottom line?
My bottom line that keeps me going, like no matter what anybody tell me, is what I've already told myself. And that's the truth. Me being honest to myself, number one, and knowing my capabilities. So even if the best Warren Buffett came and said, you can't make $1 million in the stock market, okay, it don't even matter what he say.
Right.
You know, I know what my end goal wants to be. I know what I want it to be.
Yeah.
I know how I want my family to live. I know that I want to give back to my people close to me. I know I want to be able to take care of people who's close to me. I want to be able to give back in major ways that I never even thought of.
Wow.
And one of the ways I wanted to as well was eventually is in the Virgin Islands, actually, you know, whether it's build a school or something like that teaches all the stuff that I learn or know eventually, or just to show them a different way out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just having the power to impact and change people's lives.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You and I, we got that in common. Like I want to give back to like Haiti. I want to build a school or a hospital or something there. But the corruption, man. One thing I like about the Virgin Islands is that there's not as much corruption as there is in like in the Caribbean or like in Haiti.
Yeah. In other independent countries. I mean, we have a governor and everything, you know, but you know, every governor has their goods and bads and everything. But as far as like it's for the people down there. Everything is for the people. If it doesn't benefit the people, that the Virgin Islands will not strive at all.
Yeah.
Because they make the country run. Everything is the people.
Right.
So yeah, if we don't have that, then it's not anything we can do. Yeah. And then also like I realize what I do like too is like when I speak to somebody who don't know a lot about like what I do or about something specific, and I tell them and I educate them. Yeah. And how they like have a different perspective, that does a lot for me too. Yeah. Because I just showed them a whole different side instead of seeing one side. Well, look at this.
Yeah.
So I kind of like seeing me change somebody's perspective as well. So
you got so many sides to you. You're so multi-dimensional. You know what I mean? You're not one-dimensional. We started out with a shoe and somehow we ended up in the stock market. Right? So it's like, I don't know who talks to you and doesn't get all these, you know what I mean? Like, you just took me for a complete ride across so many different spectrums. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And looking at me, you would never even think I knew everything or that I know.
Definitely not. And you're still a student, which is amazing, right? You're still a student learning. You're learning as you go.
Always. I always say if you're the smartest dude in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room. That's it.
Just find another room.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely need to keep in touch, man. And I want to again, we're gonna put the link to this to the day trading. So you teach day trading. We're gonna put a link to that, to the videos on YouTube, your YouTube channel. We're gonna plug that. And anything else anybody should know about, you know, where to find you? I know you're on Instagram. Just one more time for us so we can get that.
Yeah, definitely. So if you want to get at me personally on Instagram, it's at JahLewski, JahLewskii. If you want to get into day trading, you want to learn and want to schedule a time, maybe I'll give free consultations too. So if that's something you're interested in, you can reach out to us at Modern Margin Investments, and modern spelled normal, margin and investments, all one word. You can find us on Facebook as well. Same thing, at Modern Margin Investments. If you do want to check out the shoe, I will leave a description. Not a description. I will leave the link to my boy right here.
Yeah.
So you guys can check the shoes out. And also eventually I will release the prototype for the spring season. So just be on the lookout for that as well. And then, you know, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, or you just want to reach out to me, I'm open to that as well. I have a busy schedule, but I will make time.
He'll make time. He made time for this long conversation, so he'll definitely make time for you, right? Because you want to help people win. And that's what
of course.
You. That's what I get from you. You want to help people.
Of course.
I think we covered so much, man. And you know what's crazy is I can still keep talking to you about, you know, the direction.
We can keep going till, you know.
Yeah, right? But like where we're going next. So we got to do this again soon, man. I definitely want to do this again soon. I definitely want to keep in touch.
We can do it.
Yeah, for sure. This was a great time. Jah, thanks for taking the time, man, and sharing so much with us. I really appreciate it. For sure, definitely. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, follow Jah on Instagram, on Facebook. Are you on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's my whole name.
Yeah, let's follow him on LinkedIn also, right? Great guy to know, somebody get in your corner if you got any questions about the markets. You know, definitely reach out. This was the Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say, because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line.